The key to success is not what you think it is. Many have come to believe that the key to success is by simply working hard and outworking everybody else. But I'm here to tell you right now that hard work alone will not make you successful. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Andrew, and today I'm going to be talking about the key to success. What does it require? What does it take to become successful, right? And obviously everybody wants to be successful, or I should say most people want to be successful in life. And everybody have their own approach and different things that they've tried to do to become successful. For some it works, others it doesn't. But what is the key to success? Is there even a key to success, right? Is there one particular key that if you hold that key, you'll be guaranteed to be successful? Now, let's slow down. Let's pause. The first thing, we have to define, what does success look like? Everyone's success is going to be different, right? Each person has their own personality and their own desires and their own dreams and goals and so on. Therefore, success is going to look different for me than it does for you. So the first thing, when we're thinking about success on a whole, the very first thing that we need to do is to identify, what does it mean to be successful to me, and what does it look like to be successful, right? So once you define that, once you have clarity on what is success, then your next goal is to start putting a plan together in order to achieve your goal of becoming successful, and then start taking steps on working on that plan, right? Every single successful person, man and woman, they will tell you their key to success, right? I do believe that everybody have their own little secrets, or some type of formula that worked for them. But the thing about success is, it is like, if you think of success like a cake, right? And in that cake, it's many different ingredients, right? Now, this baker could substitute one of those ingredients, or two or three of those ingredients, or just completely leave those ingredients out altogether, and the final product in that cake is what they wanted it to be, right? And then somebody else could do the same, substitute or eliminate an ingredient or two, but then the outcome is not what they anticipated it to be, right? So there are many keys and ingredients into what it takes to become successful. Hard work is one of them. Yes, working hard, but it's also contextual, right? It's all about context, right? Because working hard alone does not equal success. It never really does equal to success, right? Now, the other thing too that I like to look at when it comes on to listening to other people, so-called gurus, or just people who have made it, people who society define as successful, when we look at them, right? We don't know what these people's backgrounds are. If you grew up in a rich family, or a family that is well off, or at the very least they are financially comfortable, right? And you had a defined goal from a young age, and you have the support from this family to build yourself up to that goal, to achieving that goal, success is going to look different for you. First of all, it's going to be quicker. It's going to be more defined. You're probably going to make less mistakes, right? And very little barriers, because you have that support. You have inside information, right? But for someone who is building completely from the ground up, right? Starting from scratch, have to research everything, have no one to lean on, or to guide, or a mentor, right? It's going to look different. First of all, it's going to take way more time, right? Much longer, because you don't have a blueprint. You're piecing it together as you go along, right? So this is the reason why I believe that there isn't any one formula, and what formula works for this guy more than likely won't work for this guy, right? Nowadays, in the online space, for example, there's a lot of money online. There's a lot of success online. There's a lot of wealth online. But not everybody's cut out for being online. Not everybody has the brain and the mental capacity to do whatever it takes to be done online, whether you're doing like a Shopify store or, doing what I'm doing, like YouTube, or something like a social media influencer or whatever it might be. Not everyone is designed to do these things and to be successful at doing them, right? So what works for one won't work for others. I've seen people invest in stocks. I've seen people dabble in cryptocurrency. I've seen people dabble a little bit in the real estate industry, right? And it worked tremendously for some people, and they make a really good life by doing these things. And then other people, it doesn't, right? I'm one of those guys. I took about, for the better part of almost a year studying cryptocurrency. This was back in 2020, 21, somewhere around there, right? I took the better part of almost a year studying cryptocurrency, studying specific coins and tokens, right? And by the time I got to the point where I was committed and ready to actually start invest, guess what? The market crashed. And all of my money, or at least most of it, went down the drain, right? So that's just how it works. There were other people who were doing these things. They were investing in crypto and they were making money. A lot of regular people became millionaires, multimillionaires, right? Or just six-figure earners because they got lucky, right? So it's a lot of different ingredients that goes into success. Some of the things that you will need as part of your baseline or your foundation to be successful, you're going to need discipline. You have to be disciplined, right? Discipline is, I am going to do this thing even when I really don't want to, I don't feel like it, but because I said that I'm going to at this particular time, on these particular days, I'm going to remain disciplined and I'm going to do it, right? You're going to need emotional intelligence and emotional maturity. Those two things are utterly important. Why? When you're building, when you're on the grind and you're building, you will undoubtedly face a lot of setbacks, challenges, obstacles, roadblocks, detours, etc. You will face those things, right? And you have to have that emotional intelligence, emotional awareness, emotional discipline, emotional maturity to be able to face these issues and just be like, okay, it's a part of it. And I'm just gonna go through and not let it bother me, right? I'm gonna overcome, right? Other ingredients that is important is adaptability / flexibility, right? You have to be willing to pivot and adapt, right? Whenever situation arises, you just don't know what's coming, when it's coming, and so you have to be able to adapt to situations and be flexible, to make whatever necessary changes that you might need to make. Another thing is also timing. You have to keep that in mind, timing and patience. Timing and patience. You have to understand timing, right? Not because Tom Jones did the exact same thing that you're doing and he took off like a rocket in 3 months doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be the same for you, right? Maybe for you, because of the journey and the process and you needing to learn, right? It takes twice the time. So now you got to wait 6 months, right? So we have to understand timing and be able to have the patience necessary to work with timing. The other thing is alignment and preparation, positioning, and alignment. What do I mean by all that, right? So you have to position yourself. If an opportunity come your way and you're not prepared, you more than likely won't be able to take full advantage of it, right? So you have to position yourself. Say, for example, you want to be like a chauffeur for elite clients. That's your goal. You want to be a chauffeur for elite clients, right? You want to make sure that you want to drive these people around because you like to be in the presence of greatness. Let's just say that's your dream. That's your goal, right? How do you prepare yourself? How do you position yourself? How do you align yourself? Well, first of all, you have to understand that community, first of all, so you know how to deal with them whenever you are dealing with them, right? First, you need to understand that, right? And this might not be in the exact orders, but something else that you would need to do is learn how to drive. That's one of the key components for that goal. Know how to drive and know how to drive well, right? Then you have to understand what it is that these people, what are some of the common things that usually is to be expected when dealing with these types of people. And so learn that so that you know how to conduct yourself around them, right? How do they want you to speak? How do they expect you to dress, etc., etc., right? Is there any sort of special training that you need to have, right? So that's what it means to be positioned. You align yourself, right? Work with local celebrities, right? Offer your services to local celebrities, local influencers and so on and so forth. And so you're building a portfolio. This is you positioning yourself and preparing yourself so that you can be in alignment with your dream job and your goal, which is to be a chauffeur for an elite family or an elite client, right? So that might not be the greatest of examples, but you get the point. It's about positioning yourself. I could say the same thing for wanting to become a licensed social worker, right? You're gonna go to school first. You got to go to school. That's part of the preparation and the positioning. Then you got to go into the field. You got to do some field work, right? Get that experience. Build yourself up, right? Expand your experience by working with different demographics. Working in different categories within this, underneath the social work umbrella, right? Build yourself up. That's what you have to do. And then when the time is right, you are fully prepared, you are well positioned, and now you just have to be aligned with your goal or your dream. So preparation, positioning, and alignment are absolutely crucial, right? So now by this time you must be wondering, but wait a minute, I didn't hear you mention what the key is. Well, guess what? Here it goes. Based upon my observation, based upon my personal experience, based upon listening to many people, to include rich people, successful people, gurus, etc., one of the key, most important ingredient in the process of becoming successful is persistency. Persistency is, in my opinion, the number one key. Persistency, in my opinion, is the number one key in becoming successful, right? Persistency means that you will not stop, you will not quit, you will not give up until you've achieved your goal. There is a TV show that I watched before. I completely forgot the name of the TV show, but basically what it is, I think it's called The Selection. I think that's the name of it, right? Anyways, the TV show takes civilians, regular normal civilians, and they take them through a watered down version of what it takes to become a Navy SEAL. So they take them through various training evolutions that Navy SEALs would go through, right, in the process of becoming SEALs. So there was a scene in this show that really resonated with me deeply, and it's been years since I watched this show, but this scene lives in my brain rent free, because here's why. So I want to say the training process was about a week, maybe 2 weeks, right? However, there was the scene where we got to the last day of training. They were going through the last evolution of the entire program. That evolution was a hike. But the hike came on the back of a lot of different grueling training evolutions earlier in that day. They started their morning extremely early, went through a whole lot of different challenges, and then the hike was the very last thing. Now, the challengers or competitors, they didn't know when the hike ends. All they know is it's the last thing, right? And I remember it was one guy. He got to a point where he was like, I'm done. I just can't do this no more. I'm done. I'm just done, right? And he stopped. So the instructors, two of them came up to him and they were like, they trying to talk to him, trying to understand what's going on in his head, why he wants to quit, trying to motivate him, trying to encourage him, trying to uplift him. And he was just done. I get it. Everybody has their breaking point. He was at his breaking point and he was not willing to take another step forward. Once he got to that point where he said he's done and basically quitting at that point, the instructors turned to him and be like, hey, the finish line is like right there. Literally a few steps more, he would have successfully completed that program. Just a few steps more. But he quit. You know why? Because he did not have enough persistency in his tank to take him over the line. And it's so many people in our life, in life that go through similar experiences. You work so hard, you're so tired, you're so depleted, you're so burnt out, you're so overwhelmed, right? But each step you take forward, you are getting closer and closer and closer and closer. You just don't know it sometimes. And when you quit, you will never know. You will never know just how close you were. You will never know because you gave up. So persistency is the number one key to success. There is a meme that I came across. There is a meme that I once came across where there was this guy, he was digging for treasure, I guess gold, right? And it shows the progress he made into the mountainside. He was digging. But obviously, he doesn't know how far in the gold is deposited, right? So he got to a point where he was just so over it, burnt out, tired, and he walked away. He was done. Some other random guy came, continued on his progress that he had already made, and a few strokes of the axe, he was hitting gold. He was hitting gold. A few strokes, he was hitting gold, right? So the previous guy did all that work, spent all that time, burned all that energy, only to walk away and left it for someone else to come and reap the benefit of it with very little effort. So persistency is the key. You can't quit. You can't give up. Life is like a road trip. You will run into detours. You will run into obstacles. You will run into barriers, right? You might have to be diverted somewhere else. But it shouldn't mean that you quit and you give up. Let it be a challenge that you embrace. Let it be a challenge that you exercise your emotional intelligence, maturity, and awareness. And let these things be the thing that drive you, right? Yes, you're frustrated in the moment. Yes, you're tired. Yes, you're overwhelmed. You're burnt out, right? You can pause. It is always okay to pause, guys. It is always okay to pause. It's never okay to quit. Now, I don't want to confuse you, but there are some situations where the right thing to do is to, I won't say quit, but pivot, right? If you're working on something, you've given it your everything, you've partnered with others, you've done different iterations, you have done everything you personally and possibly can do, to include getting help from professionals, and that thing is just not working. You might have to pivot, right? But you're not quitting on that thing and quitting on yourself and just give up altogether. You're pivoting and you're doing something else. You're finding something else, right? So entrepreneurs, for example, is a classic example of what it means to be persistent and also pivoting, right? I have met many entrepreneurs like myself who started out doing one thing. and they did that one thing for a little while and it didn't quite work, they pivot to something else. Same story. This something else worked for a little while, it didn't quite work how they wanted, they pivot to something, and they keep pivoting. You would think that there's some sort of netball or basketball player. They just keep pivoting. But that's what persistency looks like. You're not quitting on yourself. You're not giving up. You're not throwing in the towel and be like, oh, I'm done. I can't seem to figure this out. I'm done. No, you're pivoting and you're finding a solution. Every problem has a solution. You just have to find it. And that's what persistency is, right? And that is what the real key to success truly is. It is persistency, my friends, not hard work by itself, right? And nowadays, hard work really ain't getting you nowhere. You need to work smart, more than hard, right? You need to work smart. So that is what the key to success is. It is persistency, all right? So let me just recap. When you think of success, right? First thing you need to do is to define what success looks like, define what it is for you. Then you got to have a plan. Then you start taking steps towards that plan, right? You got to be disciplined. You got to stay committed. You have to be patient. You have to be emotionally intelligent, mature, and aware. You have to be flexible and be willing to adapt and to pivot if and when necessary. You have to be patient. You have to position yourself so that you can take full advantage of the opportunity when it comes. And lastly, you must be persistent. Bros, I hope that you took something from this one. I hope that this inspires you just a little bit, right? I hope that it brings you clarity, and I hope that you're able to take the right steps and actions moving forward after listening to this video, right? So that is going to be it for today, guys. Until the next one, as always, let us continue to grow, evolve, and transform into the best version of ourselves. Peace.